BarTalk baddies. Abigail Crow's not here today, but guess who is? Welcome back to another episode of... You gotta say your thing.
Oh, no, you say BarTalk.
BarTalk.
And then I say BarTalk, BarTalk, BarTalk.
Okay, so it was... Check. You still have something in your teeth.
I do?
Yeah.
Excuse
you
me?
go for the middle teeth, and I said to the left. It's like... It's
here? You have one too?
Dude, Bumble Public salad for real.
Dude, we had these Publix kale salads or whatever.
Right there.
And yeah, they were really good. But man, they weren't good for the teeth. Is it out?
No, pull up your camera. All
right, well, I get this out of my teeth.
I'll explain why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Abigail knows how to take care of herself.
Oh my God.
She knows how to prioritize the things she needs to accomplish in a week. So here I am.
We don't.
And I don't. However, I will justify every single irresponsible thing I do this next 2 weeks with the fact that I'm not in classes right now. I'm just personal training and helping out with the OCR classes, the Flow CR Flocker, aka Mother Flocker classes, living it up, waking up at 4 a.m. every single day.
Living the dream.
No sleep, no pillow.
You say no pillow?
It's a Kevin Hart stand-up, and it's my favorite ever. He goes, one bed, no pillow, no mattress, all night. Sorry. I watched a lot of Kevin Hart stand-up.
So our co-host
So
is here.
I explained this to Tracy a couple weeks ago when we were kayaking. I said, hey, I think when in regards to BarTalk, co-host isn't the term. It's like, the add-ons when you're getting some ice cream at like Lofty Pursuits. Mm-hmm. You're like, yeah, I'll have the sprinkles. Mm-hmm. I'm like the BarTalk sprinkles.
It's the like finishing touches,
dude.
Not finishing touches,
like
but like the just
I might regret
the glimmer,
this,
the glistening. Yeah, the glimmer and glistening of it.
The flavor.
Yeah,
some additives. Some artificial additives onto your ice cream.
Like my mom watched the one with, was it my mom? Maybe it was Joey. Or I don't know. Somebody that normally watched one of those people
care about.
Watched the last one, and Alana was just like chilling up in the corner.
Well, I had nothing to add to that podcast, and I wasn't trying to steal the spotlight. I was just listening.
But it was so good because she actually just sat there, and then every once in a while, because they were just listening to the audio, you would like chime in, and they were like, "Oh my God, Alana's here."
Well, that was the thing where it's like that type of conversation. Like, I'm so newbie at this world, but I'm so interested in this world that like, why would I say anything? Like, I really just need to be sitting. I had a question I wanted to ask him, but I had to pee so bad that I almost wanted us to be I wanted us to be done. No, I intentionally didn't forget. I was like, I will ask this question, but it would drag this podcast on longer. I gotta piss.
Oh my God.
Let's wrap this shit
we
up.
were also like really pressed on time,
Yeah,
so I'm surprised that we even went that long.
Anyway, so that being said, like, that was a conversation where I said at the end, like, I was really grateful to be in the room to hear that, especially just because getting to know Jared, like, he's got a cool life and he's very successful.
And he's done a lot.
Abigail's got a lot of good questions. So I was grateful to be a listener, a live listener. Call me an LL.
So the best sprinkles on top, whipped cream, cherry on top is with us today in the podcast. And we're talking about a couple different things ish.
I literally pulled an Abigail, like I literally made notes because having to do a podcast with Tracy stressed me out enough to where I made notes because we'd be here all night.
Mm-hmm. We would.
Which is fine.
I don't know. I talk in circles. That's just how I live.
I just hope you're comfy.
Yeah.
Because this could be chaotic.
We're gonna go back a little bit and we're gonna talk about, because our perspectives on racing has changed, changed from like when we started into what we're going into, and like right now we're going into the last age group series of our season. There's 5. There's 5.
God,
there's 5, but yeah, but you have to make 3 out of the 5.
Yes,
right.
So yeah, but before we get into that crazy business, go check out the other episodes we did. We did an episode on the Ultra. We did an episode about me being a newbie bitch,
about her life,
about my life. So if you're curious, like, on like the deep dive background, what we're talking about, go check those out. However, we've had, what is this month? August?
Yeah.
And so we're about halfway through the race season. Spartan, that is the Spartan race season. So yeah, we're kind of, it's gone differently than we expected, which is a good thing.
I think it's a good thing.
I agree. I think it's a really good thing. And it's like one of those things where you're like, ooh, this went differently.
Yeah.
But I think like there's a lot of weird shit going on and a lot of transitions and a lot of unexpected weirdness. Like I just cut bangs today. Why did I do that, dude? I said last week, this 5-year-old got her bangs cut. I said, damn, I want bangs. So let me know.
She's like, she just said, I don't think I want to do it before the West Virginia race because it's going to be in my face. And I said, bitch, you wear a headband. And then I showed up. Yeah, I showed up to the gym and I'm like,
cut my bangs.
Yeah, so you cut your hair. She's like, yeah.
Shout out to a stepmom that knows how to cut hair. That's some good karma from a broken family.
Yeah, bro.
Get a useful stepmom. Love you, Nicole. 3 years deep. Sorry, bro.
Knew we were gonna do it today. We're in a fucking mood.
You gotta let it out.
Anyway.
Back
So we're going
track.
into the age group series race, which you got to show up to like, I don't know, 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5. I can't keep fucking track anymore. We really don't care. That's the whole point. That's what I'm trying to say. We were really like on track with this whole age group series race, and then we did the ultra, and we were like,
I want to be a runner.
We were like,
I was like, I want to live in the woods.
We just wanted to make a fucking tent and go stay in the woods forever and never come back home.
I want to just run for 59 hours straight.
For decades.
So, I don't want to sleep. I don't like camping, actually. But I said I would rather run for 4 days straight and no sleep in the woods than camp in the woods.
I would probably do that too. I would do that too.
That's just my opinion on that.
Yeah.
So don't ask me to go camping with you, even though I seem like a very naturist granola person. It's not going to happen.
No,
I'll sleep in a bed.
Not.
I'm fancy.
You be careful what you say because next year.
I'll sleep in a bed in the car.
Right. We'll get to that. as our things change. Okay. So anyway, let's back it up and put it in reverse, Terry. We need to kind of like go back to where we first started-ish because we be getting a lot of questions of like, yo, who are you? Especially now that Alana is in this full space.
Nobody know me.
Yeah. I get like every single time I put like ask me anything. Everybody's always like, yeah, no. They're like, how did you start? And I'm like, no, I fucking hate answering. This is what I'm going to say. I'm going to like back it up. And this is the only thing I'm going to say. I was not a runner, period. Okay. I was not a runner. So when everybody is like, I wish that I could do what you do. I wish I could go out and run all the time. It's like,
I'll stop making excuses.
Let me just tell you something.
Lace up those tennies.
I woke up one day and I was like, I am a large biatch. I am large and in charge. This ain't right. I can't take my dogs for a walk without being gassed, but I can lift some serious weights. If somebody was to come in my house today and kill me, I'd be like, please hold the door while I run and get a head start because I was not making it out alive. So
conviction in the soul.
I have felt it. Like seriously, that is exactly what happened with the conversation with myself. So I texted Drew Whitehead, which is our boss, and he was trainer at the time too as well. I mean, fitness director at the time, but he was also training. And I was like, listen, you got to help a girl out. And he's like, what? I was like, I think I want to try to run. And he like laughed. And then he was like, okay, what do you mean? And I was like, I think I want to race like these Spartan races. And he's like, all right, well, you have to learn like actually how to be an endurance athlete. And not to say that I was always an athlete my whole life. And I always knew about endurance racing and I was like well-rounded in knowing what it was, but training yourself and being a coach for yourself while like throwing a whole 360 type of, training routine.
Little monkey wrench.
It just throwing a whole wrench in your system and your sauce and your gravy. It just doesn't work. So you need somebody else to guide you in that direction. So I knew exactly what he was going to do to me and I knew it was coming hard and I knew I was going to fucking fail at it, which is why I wanted to do it even more. So I spent the first like month of my training block of learning how to be an endurance athlete, straight up vomiting like every half mile.
Fun fact.
And it sucked.
On the record, I've never vomited from a workout.
You better knock on wood right now.
I say it every day of my life because it just doesn't happen. Honestly, sometimes I wish it would because I feel like I'm going to and it doesn't happen.
It's the best.
Resume.
Oh, but anyway, I spent like an entirety, like a month longer. It was longer than that. I don't know. And I was just throwing up all the time. I was like the most piss poor endurance athlete there is. Okay. And you can even ask him. He even said to me at the DECA, at this past DECA, he was like, I just want to let you know, Trask, like proof is in the pudding. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, before when you started this, you were like large and in charge, wanna be endurance athlete, Trask. And he's like, now you look and you act like an endurance athlete trash. And I was like, my fucking heart.
And nothing's more humbling than whenever someone speaks on something that like you knew for a long time, but you just kind of like hope no one noticed.
Yeah.
And then like, and you're like, oh damn, that was actually the case.
You're like, damn, yeah. I always knew I was large in charge.
It's always kind of like a double whammy. At least for me, I'm like, oh my god, I would like let myself be like that. But I mean, you were like lifting. I have a different story. I think I've had a different background. So
yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Someone would speak on me would be a little different. But it's always kind of like, to me, I have a lot of milestones in my head when people have said different things to me, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I've made some changes. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. And like you think those things and you're like, oh yeah, I was definitely a large and in charge bitch. And like sometimes I look back at videos and stuff, I'm like, oh my God. Like you should see me on the air bike. I'll show you this video that just popped up. Holy shit.
But I think about that all the time too, because I know like you definitely have had an athlete transformation even since I've met you. Like the game has changed. And so I do think about it all the time though, because I think like that was your foundation for the strength that is your advantage in the races. So it's not something ever that you're going to be like, oh my God, I was so large. Because it's like, dude, you spent so long building your strength. Yeah. And your endurance is your goal now. But like, it's so cool that like you unintentionally were in the building or in like a strength. Because there's some people who are going to come fresh tomorrow, be like, I'm in, I want Spartan races, and they don't have either. So it's just kind of cool that you did have that like background, you know.
And I did, and it like you said, it definitely was like a benefit and not
because it was
time.
Yeah.
But it definitely still helps me out right now because that is what I'm good at is like the strength portions of that. I never lost that, you know what I'm saying? But I went from doing nothing endurance related and strictly lifting and doing like sprint work because I was a track athlete my whole life and just never ran ever. And so when I first got into it, I was like, I'm going to do the 5K. And I was like, yeah, let's go. 3 miles, which sounds like to me personally right now, not a lot. And so like that type of like mental shift and like perspective that we've like taken over the course of time is like, that's what I wanted back then. And that really wasn't that long ago. No. Like that was only like 2 years ago. And then I spent a whole year being like, yeah, you know, 10Ks are kind of my vibe. Like I'm kind of past that. Like 10Ks are kind of my vibe. And then we just hopped and we did our first beast in October. I liked it, but I didn't love
October
it.
Of 21, right?
Yeah, it was last year. I did my first beast.
22?
No. Wait a second.
Or 21?
20.
Because 22 was like last race season. Was it whenever?
No, okay. It was so.
Because wasn't it in Dallas with Barry?
It was.
Okay, so yeah, that was 21.
Right.
Because 22 is whenever I stepped in this scene.
That's true. So it was 21. But even then, like I did the beast and I did it just because I knew it would fucking suck. And I'm just one of those people that like, I'm an adrenaline junkie. And I was like, yeah, I was like, let's kill myself. Yes. And I didn't like it. I mean, I loved it because I enjoyed it, but I didn't
you
like
fall
it.
Off the A-frame and like give yourself a like didn't that happen to you?
Right. So my first beast ever.
Like I would have probably like had someone give me a gurney.
This was okay. So story. My first beast ever was in Dallas, Texas. It's like the flattest, fastest beast ever besides like Central Florida. I swear. There's like absolutely nothing going on in this Dallas course.
But Central Florida has like 2 miles of water. Dallas doesn't, right?
No. It's,
so it's
hot,
flat,
it's fast,
hot.
It's flat. Yeah. Like nothing is going on. Okay. Yeah. And so you're just hot as shit and you're sweating profusely. I mean, like it's just, you know, crazy. It's dry. Like it's just nuts. So anyway, we're out there early in the morning and it's like kind of dewy, but it's just hot and you're sweating a lot. And it was my first beast. So I didn't really know how to attack the obstacles as far as like what to do with myself in between them, right? Like I was kind of like just do-si-doing around there and then I was going really fast. Like there was no pacing for me. It was just, let's just get this shit done.
Yeah.
So we came up to the Stairway to Sparta, which is basically like this A-frame looking thing, but in the beast version, there's a platform of wood. And then above the wood, there's just hand grips. There's about like 4 or 5 hand grips, rock grips. And then above that, there's these bars.
Metal bars.
There's like metal bars. And they're metal and they're high as shit. And I had jumped and I had just made it onto one of the rocks and I got onto the metal bars. And as I was about to get onto the second metal bar, I never put my foot up.
That's just like 8 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Too, maybe
I like
10.
never put my foot up, which I do now because I'm petrified. And I was just hands in it and my hands were super sweaty and they slipped and they came backwards and I fell backwards off the rig. and I literally fell and knocked the wind out of me and passed out.
They don't have pads or anything. Like,
no, it's nothing. It's just dirt.
Just like the ground.
And so I literally like fall, hit my head. I like pass out. I'm like awake. And the guy's looking at me and he's like, dude, are you okay? You know, yada, whatever. And they're kind of like pouring water on me. And I was just like, what's going on? And
Jesus?
Yeah, I'm like, Jesus, like what's happening here? And he looks at me and he's like, do you want to keep going? And I was just like, yeah, like, sure. Yeah, let's do it. And he's like, okay, you're a fucking psychopath. Let's go. Oh, by the way, you have a red headband on. You got to do the penalty. And I was like, what? And he's like, you got to do the penalty. And I was like,
way to be like,
what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, sorry. Like, you got a red headband on unless you want to take it off and get DQ'd. And I was like, ain't no fucking way.
That's like what it's like. That's where it's like, my guy, you're probably the best human, but the worst human at the same time.
Yeah,
I literally in that rule book, and we need you out here. But oh my god, I would have literally I would have just cried in his face.
Yeah, and like I get it. Like it's the rules.
But you're like, I just died.
I know, but I was just like, really, you fucker. Yeah. Like I'm already kind of in last place.
Oh, that would have made me so upset.
And so I did it, and then I spent another like 2 miles walking, and then I ran the rest and suffered through it all.
Moral of the story. First time isn't always glamorous.
Yeah, first time's not glamorous, guys.
But it's fun.
But it's super fun.
And rewarding.
And then after that, I was like, yeah, 10Ks, still my vibe.
Yeah.
Until we got to last year, which we kind of like were doing a little bit more beastie action, kind of long distance running, still a large and in charge bitch, figuring it out. And then I feel like personally how we got to Fayetteville was we woke up one day, and I remember we were talking about this the other day. And I think one day I woke up and I just said it out loud, and then we kind of talked about it and we were like, yeah, I think I want to do a 50K.
Yeah.
Like fuck a half marathon. Let's just do it.
Ultra. Well, I think the way it kind of spiraled into being a big group thing where it was like, who wants to come run this ultra with us? I know for me, I can kind of lightly touch on my background. Again, there was a whole episode on that because it's one of those things where you're like, how are you doing this now? Like I would pay to see someone's like, life's not all about me. So I don't even know if people are like, I'm on people's radar from like school, but like there's no shot in like middle school. They'd be like, oh yeah, that bitch probably running ultras right now. Like no way.
Mac and cheese, Alana.
No, my God. It was, she was chunky. Anyways. So it's like, anyway. Basically, I'm graduating high school. I didn't really do any sports. I was pretty book focused in high school. Flew under the radar. Didn't really want to do anything. But then things started stirring up in me kind of come junior year. After a long history with just like a really bad relationship with exercise and really bad relationship with food because social media says, do these things to get skinny. And then you're like, okay. And then none of it works. And it's all very traumatizing. And it does not give you at all anywhere close to a good relationship with exercise when you're focusing on specifically aesthetics, especially when you don't know what you're doing and like the foundations of how your body works. And I didn't. Right. And so, all that said, that's kind of where I was coming from. I'm getting these things started up in my soul. Like I really feel like I wanna just do something outside of my comfort zone. I want to do something that's gonna level me up because I'd been working out for a while on my own, going to the gym, lifting. I didn't really know what I was doing though. And so I started looking into CrossFit, and then I realized that our gym had this functional fitness program called Elevate. Long story short, I ended up signing up for Elevate because I was already at the gym, and Tracy ended up being my Elevate coach, and the rest was history. I started college. About a year deep into Elevate, or like 9 months or something like that, I was working at a coffee shop. I dropped down to like part-time at the coffee shop, got a front desk job at Momentum, nowhere close to even personal trainer life. I really wasn't even, because I've also been like just a super insecure, super undecisive, super not very letting myself do things that I want to do. I always had like these mental blocks for like, oh, I don't deserve that. Oh, people don't want me in that room. Oh, I really have no place in that. Why would I run a Spartan race? Why would I think that I can work at a gym? I don't even look like I work at a gym. You know, like it just, those are the things that I was having to battle, like just deep rooted internal excuses. Right. So, or narratives, or however you want to spin that picture. And so all that said, I end up crossing paths with old Tracy, and she's got the energy, y'all. She's got the energy to make you think you can do some crazy shit. And it happened. And so I think on my own, I remember like I got sick one time and I was like, all right, what's all this Spartan business about? What's going on here? And I started watching just all the Spartan documentaries and seeing what's going on with it. And I decided internally, I was like, okay, I'm going to take 2022, I'm going to do a trifecta. But I actually had already signed up for 3 individual races completely separately because I didn't know there were any people on the planet that ran the races in the same weekend. That wasn't even a thought in my mind. I was like, wow. That makes no sense to me because your body, you would explode if you did that. You would drop dead, cardiac arrest. Actually, that's how that would happen. No, you're very capable of that. I didn't know there was anything longer. Literally 2 years ago, I didn't know that there was anything longer past a marathon, like a road marathon. I literally thought like I had no idea that existed. I remember I came across like a documentary of like 100K or 100 miler, and I was like, you don't die after 26 miles?
They survive?
No, I literally was like, humans are capable of that? I literally, like, whenever I saw that, I was like, you're telling me you don't drop dead when you hit 26 miles. You don't, actually. Mm-hmm. Humans are pretty cool. So all that said, I just came from, like, super beginner insecurity-esque focus to, like, literally, we ran our first ultramarathon, Spartan, that is both first place podiumed.
Fucking right.
And we're in it to win it. And so I think the point of this is because things don't go as you expect them to. Mm-hmm. But if you're open for change and you want more and you're just like hungry for that next level, it'll fall into your lap one way or another.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think like the biggest thing, we were talking about this earlier, and this is kind of why we wanted to talk about it now, is like perspectives and like what you think is going to happen. Oh my God, look at this fucking, sorry.
I
do you
saw
see that?
You're like bleeding.
It's like, this is
Tracy,
poison ivy.
Tracy's like her life. Listen, Tracy's life circumstances are already chaotic enough. And every second Tuesday, like one of her eyes are swollen shut.
It's just
She's got like sunburns on her lips. Her nose is sunburn galore. We moved a tree off the trail because it was like a bad storm.
Rich decided to be a good Samaritan.
Our
God forbid.
Rich decided to start moving this fungus-infected tree or something off of the main path. I helped, but
he was
I didn't get it on me. They both have this like poison ivy looking demon disease all over their skin.
All over. It's on my neck. It's on my face.
So
it's on my
like
arms.
Things are already chaotic, and Tracy's got a new itch.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. Anyway, like I was saying, fucking Rich decided to be a good Samaritan. And of course, I was like, motherfucker's making me look bad. I guess I gotta help. And then it screwed me. Whatever.
Maybe I didn't help enough.
Anyway, so when we first started this year, we were like, all right, age group series sounds great. We're not going to do SoCal and Big Bear. We were going to do the other ones that we can make it to, which was Utah, West Virginia, Jacksonville. Was that it?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Because you got to make 3 out of the 5 now. See, I remember.
Yep.
Okay. So those were the ones that we were going to do. We were like, we're going to haul ass. Currently, I'm in 3rd. You're in.
I think I'm 6th.
6th?
But everyone has 2 races, and there's like 4 people tied there's 2 people tied for first place, and there's 2 people tied for second place. So,
so we need some points in Virginia if we want to stack up.
I don't know how many people are showing up for that race, but I'm gonna try.
It's a pretty big race. West Virginia is a pretty big race as it is, and also I'm pretty sure it's an honor series, an age group national series race.
Cool.
Here's the thing: we were really amped up about the age group series. Not saying that I'm not. You know, I'm not saying that I'm not amped up about it.
That's the focus for this year.
That was the focus for this year.
It still is.
And it still is. And it still is for sure.
But it hasn't had the impact. Like, I think
it's not as impactful as the Fayetteville
like,
race.
Oh, I'm about to be the next freaking national champion after this age group series. I'm going all in on Spartan.
Like, my name's going to be on the ticket.
On the trifecta thing. Let's go crazy.
Yeah.
I probably, so that
we
was
were gonna
the
chase
mindset. It. I mean, we are still.
We are still for this year. But once we did Fayetteville, it kind of, it geared our future plans like big time.
Dude, I had a freaking come to ultra moment on that ultra marathon. Like, that was nuts.
Yeah. And we did go really deep into that. But what we didn't talk about is like, I think we touched a little bit on what we were both going through for us to be able to get through that race, but we didn't touch on it enough. And I think that that's really important because like, that's why it changed it for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, should I just say like what why my perspective changed into Fayetteville, I guess.
I would say, like, because, I mean, that was a catch-up until Fayetteville. That was a kind of catch-up in what happened in Fayetteville and, like, just how it went. But I think it'd be cool to be like, okay, we're in August now, and I feel like, again, all our perspectives have changed a lot on racing.
Yeah.
What we want out of racing. Yeah. Our goals for racing. And so I think the past few months have a lot to do with that. But it started with both of the switches that kind of went off for us in the Ultra. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you want to go back and hear about how the actual race went,
go check that out.
But there's a lot of internal things that I feel like got flicked on, or whatever you want to call it, in that race. So I guess, like, go over.
I can say what's going on.
Yeah, just
okay.
Hang out.
I'll say what's going on. Okay, so so in Fayetteville for me was like a very big moment in like my life, just because it was the first time so far that a lot of shit was going on at once. Okay, so like I'm in a lot of relationship bullshit at the time, and I had been like in a huge fight with my relationship and my significant other. And then going into the race, I was on like a mega low. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going into this race, I'm on a mega low. I'm in a fight with my significant other. My grandfather is in the hospital. Like, you know, just shit is not going my way with work. Like, everything was just kind of like stacking on top of each other to the point where I was just like, I've been training my ass off for this race. And every moment leading up to that race was fucking hard. Like, that training was hard. We made sure that we put ourselves in like the worst situations possible. We ran a fucking 20-mile run in the rain.
15 panic attacks.
Right. In the morning with our headlamps on in the rain, just to get like mentally prepared, because we were like, we're not fucking tapping out of this shit. Like, we're not going to make it to the halfway point and tap out.
Like, there was never one time where we all showed up and we were like, let's do this run. Like, I remember we were all like, by the last end of the training block, we literally looked at each other before starting every run. We were like, can we just not sit here for 2 hours? Would anyone know? And
then we would literally run, and like we would take like a, you know, like an 8 to 10 mile loop and come back to the car to refuel and be like, so would anybody know if we just got in our car and drove away?
Left? Yeah.
Like, what? Like, we were just, it was
hard.
It
wasn't like the only thing we're doing is running this ultra. No, like, we were doing life, and life is hard.
Right.
So
exactly. We put ourselves in hard situations. But on top of that, I will say, before going into Fayetteville, it was the best that I ever felt in my skin before Fayetteville. It was the best that I've ever felt with how I looked. Like, I would look at myself in the mirror and be like, damn, that's a bad bitch. Like, I'd be like, that's like, I like that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought that I looked good. I felt good. I was talking well to myself. But at the same time, I was doing that like on top of a whole load of shit. So I was on a really low.
Like, the boat was rocking.
Really the boat was rocking.
But Tracy was okay.
Right. Like, I was cool. And then like we get to Fayetteville, and you know, the ride is what it is, and we're shooting the shit. And the morning of Fayetteville comes, and I like wake up, and I have like this just gut instinct, like mega early in the morning. I think we woke up at like 3:30.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think my grandpa died. Like, straight up. Like, I woke up and I was like, I think my grandfather's gone. Yeah. And I just kind of was like, you know, festering in my own bullshit, and we're like getting ready in the morning when we're in the Airbnb. And then because I'm like on this weird adrenaline, like shit just can't get any worse, everything starts going to shit. I lose my fucking shoes. I'm freaking the fuck out. I can't find any of the stuff that I prepped the night before. Like, I'm in this like mega ADHD fucking autopilot spiral.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't helping anything.
Which I think, too, I mean, this was in the other episode, but your family wanted you to be there.
Yes, they did.
So it was the type of deal where it was like you were also at this, there was this internal battle for you where like we really worked so hard to get to that point. And this was a big, big check mark or benchmark for us or for you.
Yeah.
And your family, like, y'all are such athletes. And like that means so much to your family that your family almost didn't give you an option but to go.
They didn't.
And you're such a family-oriented person that there was this like tension.
Yeah, because I remember being in the car, like on FaceTime, and I was on FaceTime with my dad and my grandfather driving to the Fayetteville race, and I just kept being like, I cannot believe these fuckers made me go to this race. Yeah. Like, I was pissed and upset, but then I was happy I was going because that's all my grandfather asked me to do. He was like, you got to race. And I remember him saying that, and I was like, fine, like fucking fine. Like, okay, like I'll go, you know, like I fought him about it, and I was like, fine, I'll go.
Yeah.
And I knew that I wasn't, like, I just had that feeling, you know? And so I woke up that morning and just everything was going to shit. And I was like, oh my God, this can't get any worse. And then we finally get there, and I'm just like, I'm bleeding off on everybody else. Fucking Alana loses her wristband. Denise leaves everything at home. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like a fucking time bomb right now. Like, what is going on?
To the start line.
Right. So now I'm on the low of the boat again.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, my best friend Joey shows up, and he's like, yo, Trey, what's up? And like, it was the best fucking thing that had like ever happened in this world to date that he showed up. Like, I will cry every time I talk about it. I've not seen him in literally years.
7 years.
I've talked to this guy every day. Like, he's my best friend. And literally, like, I saw his face and I was just like, am I in a simulation right now? Like, what the fuck is going on?
This is not real.
And then all of a sudden, my adrenaline was just like, let's fucking go, baby. Like, I'm like, let's fucking go. Like, we can do this. And now I'm like on a mega high. Okay. Yeah. And so I tanked, and now I'm on a high again.
Yeah.
And then we're in the race. We're doing the thing with the stuff. You're fucking on a low again. Mm-hmm. And so like this whole weekend, I was just like high to low. And coming out of the race, I crossed the finish line. I'm like immediately panic attack central. Yeah. I'm like weeping like crazy. I'm crying. I'm like, I know what's going to happen. I got to call my family, yada, yada, whatever. Yeah. But I took first, baby. So I'm like, again, on a high. Yeah. And then I'm on a mega low, and I find out that my grandfather passed, right? Yeah. And then we get in the fucking car.
Yeah.
And your girl gets her period 2 weeks late. And it is strong, and it is in charge. And I cried. We had
like an 8-hour drive.
I literally cried for 8 hours on the way home.
Van of like 6 people.
I cannot apologize to that entire crew enough.
No, there's no apology, hold on. Dude.
There's no apologizing for it. I'll take it back. But let me tell you something. If anybody asked me a singular question and I didn't answer, fuck off. Because I was unresponsive as fuck for about 8 hours.
There's no apology for that. Like that's
it
like,
was bad.
That's such a hard moment, dude.
Yeah, it was bad.
Your body shutting down, life is slapping you in the face, but also like, but that's what's so cool about that race, and I think that's why it meant so much, is because it was the moment that all the hard things and all the hard choices kind of came together, and I think we both related on this. Like, for me, I don't know. I really like, there was no big life circumstance that happened. That was a big stepping stone for me, because I did mention this in one of the podcasts, but I had a brother pass away 2 Januaries ago. And that was right after I had made the decision to start doing Spartans, which again was a pretty pivotal point in my life, like a big choice for me, but I started taking it really seriously and I cared a lot about it. And I'm in college. I like dropped off my classes that semester. Was a fucking mess. Like family was a fucking mess. Like it
kept you structured and oriented to be able to handle that.
Yeah, and so I remember almost immediate, like the next day, like, cause like you can't think, whatever. But I was like, I'm still doing these races, because to me, like it meant it. I just felt like it meant so much, even though I had no idea what it had to offer. Like I felt it in my soul a little bit that like this is what I needed to be doing, and so. It happened in January. Our first Spartan, it was in Jacksonville in February. And so I think the next week was back in classes, training. And so that, the ultra, it was like my big goal for 2023, because I had a great experience, a hard, come up, because I'm not athletically talented, I definitely just.
Now you are.
Well, now I wouldn't even call it talent. I would just say I've showed up every day, and I'm here. But that being said, like this was an emotional race, because I think it was like so it was a big thing. It was a big jump, and we hadn't even ran a marathon before. So I think for both of us, I think the common ground on that is like there was a lot of life going on, a lot of emotions going on, a lot of, things we kind of had to fight for to get there, and dedicating that time just in your everyday life is hard enough. Right. And then also knowing that like, okay, all this shit is going on, but like I have to go run 33 miles plus fucking 66 obstacles or whatever, because a Spartan is like that.
Yeah. And I think that it's like, and I think that like the both of us are exactly. I was just about to say, like, the both of us, she was thinking about her brother and I was thinking about my family, and it was just like you were on these crazy lows and these crazy highs, but at the end of the day, like what I realized, and I think that we could both agree on this, is you did do so much, and throughout all of that, you realized that it was okay to be selfish and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And like what we did was immerse ourselves around the right people and around the things that made us happy to be able to get to a point where we felt so accomplished in that race.
I wouldn't even say like be selfish and take care of yourself. I think I want to spin the narrative to say like it's okay to set high goals for yourself.
Well, yeah.
It's okay to set expectations that you have no proof that you could even match.
Yeah. And like through all of the fucking thick of it, like you stuck with it no matter what.
Exactly.
And it was just like such a change. Like it just changed our perspective on like what we are grateful for and how we are grateful,
and what we're capable of in the middle of bullshit. And so, yeah, I think it was to date just the most rewarding thing that has ever happened. And also like it to me was like 9 hours of this like euphoric peace. Don't get me wrong, my joints were
I couldn't walk the next day
out for like a while, a good few weeks. I would get up and be like, ugh.
Yeah.
But it was like, for me, it was like, it did take me 9 hours. So that was a good long time. But like that the level of peace that I felt in that moment of all these just chaos and hard work and joy coming to a head, like that's the most centered I've ever felt with myself. And I think that was the catalyst for kind of a new race perspective that we are here to talk about.
Yeah. Like running has this crazy way of being like euphoric where you just actually, and don't get me wrong, we still do this today. Like you'll be running and you're like, damn, this fucking sucks. But there are those couple of miles where you're just kind of like, you're able to legitimately run away. And like you don't think about anything and you're just out in nature and taking in the sun and like you're seeing I see people that I know and I'm like, hey, and I'm like seeing people out on course and I'm having the absolute time of my life, or you know, and I think that it put us in
for life. Almost.
Yeah, you're just like, this is fucking amazing. Like I'm able and capable of moving my body in this way that I've never been able to do before, and I'm still fucking going. You know, like I remember looking at my watch and it was like you hit the marathon and I was like, oh shit, we got 10 more miles and I'm already at like 26. Go. I'm like, all right, bet. Like let's fucking go. Let's do this.
Because
like,
I think both of our longest runs were only 20 miles.
Yeah. So it was just like, it was a very pivotal point, like for me mentally, where I was like, listen, shit can hit the fan. Nick can hit the fan really hard, you know, but you're not going to fucking fail.
You're not. And you're also still allowed to be ambitious in those moments. You're still allowed to take on more than you think you can. But what you do have to do is you have to stick to a plan and you have to trust in people to hold your back up. And I think that's what's so special about, I think that's something that's notable that's so special about the people that we're around and the team is that like, we got your back. It's like no matter what's going on, we know you have goals, we all have expectations for you. And I think, you know, knowing each other so well to like know your intentions, like no matter what happens, we know you want to run that ultra marathon, we know what it means to you. We're showing
show
up.
The fuck up.
I'll come kiss you on the forehead and get you out of bed if I have to. You know, like
we're gonna make it fucking happen.
We're gonna make it work, and it's just to show that like life slaps you in the face. Slap that bitch right back.
Exactly. I literally posted something the other day. Did you see where it said like, I know I'm struggling, but I'm not fucking failing. And it was so fucking true. It's like, this is the new mantra for the fucking day.
Wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah. I know I'm struggling, but I'm not fucking failing. Wash, rinse, repeat that shit. And it is so true because
that hit me in the heart.
Yeah. The shit hit me in the fucking chest.
Scrub-a-dub-dub.
Yeah. Because it is like, no matter what you go through, a really big part of it for me too is just realizing that like, you think that there's a lot of people that are in your corner, don't get me wrong, but there are a lot of people that are actually in your corner, and like
you've got to find them.
You have to find them. You can't just be like, oh, I have everybody in my corner,
because not everybody's got.
At the end
of
the day, they're not right, and there's certain people that are, and there's certain people that aren't, and that's okay. That's the way life is. But that like race for me was really like just a stepping stone to like what I want to get into, and now we're like we just want to fucking run, man.
It was almost
we're
for
like
me,
life's great.
Proof that we can reach for more.
Yeah.
That like more is on the table.
Totally.
And so I guess kind of leading into what we've been kind of hinting at about like race perspective changing, I think, you know, we said that Spartan was the biggest goal, or like the age group series was kind of like the goal, and really being a good competitor in that. But for me, I'll just be, I don't know. So transparent. It's not that I don't want to do Spartans next year. It's that like I want to see what's out there, and I want to kind of I want to run a long race.
We are.
And the good news is Spartan actually has a good couple of those. So I think we both kind of agreed. Originally, I think it was like 2 weeks after the ultra, maybe even a week. I texted you. I was like, hey, I want to run a 100-miler next year. And
I was like, slow the fuck down.
Yeah, well, no, you said, okay, when?
Well, I did say okay when, but I really wanted to do another ultra. Because I wanted to do one that had obstacles to it and not just racing.
For me, I love the obstacles because it is my biggest weakness. Like, I mean, I'm not the best runner, but like my upper body strength, it's in progress. And so like the rigs are still sometimes not rigs, like some of the obstacles are still challenging for me, which is a good thing, you know. And I want to do another Spartan ultra, but next year we're looking at doing an realistic kind of timeline expectations of not injuring yourself, and also too just like that doing life in school. Anyway, we're thinking about doing the San Francisco 100K, which is 66 miles, but it's just a trail race.
It's just a trail race.
But we looked at the video and it looks fucking gorgeous.
You go over the Golden Gate Bridge.
It looks gorgeous.
You know, so maybe we can drag some of our flockers out there to like caddy for us and shit like that.
I think they'd be hopping on board.
Yeah. But that's what we want to do. That's like our next biggest thing. Fuck everything else. I mean, not fuck everything. I'm just kidding. But we're still going to do West Virginia. I'm actually fucking stoked about West Virginia. But we're just talking about like bigger timeline things right now. Like not considering this year. This year we still have the goals of being the age group series because that was our original goal. That's what we want to do. We still want to do well. But with that being said, like next year we were not even like we were originally going to be like let's chase the age group.
Spartan was going to be like, I just thought, you know, it was going to be the end all be all. And I'm not to say that, like, I mean, this 100K is by Spartan actually.
Yeah, it's a Spartan trail.
But and I do want to still see what's up with the age group series, but I think it's just focus has shifted a little bit because we do. I at least personally speaking for myself, I want to push the limits and I want to keep. I think I just realized how gratifying it is to keep bumping up that bar of what is possible. And I just know that like I've not always had these goals. I've not always been interested in these things, and I definitely know that I could never go without like having some sort of goal for myself, because it just keeps you moving. But I don't know how long I'm going to be interested in these things. Not saying that like I plan on changing it, but it's that type of deal where it's like, I don't know what my body's going to be able to provide in the future because shit happens. And so I think moral of the story is like, I want to take advantage of
right now.
I want to hop on that train because I think the biggest mistake people make, and I think you guys even like mentioned this in the last episode, like some of the worst decisions, like the one you take longest to make.
Yeah, make a fucking decision.
Because I'm like, I think the thought's there. Let's just do it. And that's not to speak on like, oh, it's pessimism, something bad's gonna happen in the future. That's just me
but
saying,
it's just like you have the ability to do it right now. Why waste time? Why waste time?
Fear would be the only reason.
Right.
Fear, insecurity.
Wasting time would be, you know, let's do 100K tomorrow and kill ourselves. Like we're gonna actually do it the right way and do it the safe way, and that's what we want to do. And it's at the end of the year. And the two things that we have on the calendar for next year is the Fayetteville Ultra and the 100K San Fran trail race.
Those are the longest races. The other ones we're kind of just we'll try a High Rocks.
Yeah, we're gonna throw High Rocks in there. And we're definitely gonna do obviously like Jacksonville and all those kind of things that we normally would, but like things that are close to home. But like we're not gonna do the age group series. But this year we are still doing the age group series, and we are doing West Virginia. And this race also is in a heaping pile of dog shit.
What?
Yeah, it's in the middle of just a whole bunch of shit. But let me tell you something.
Wait. Like actual
this race
dog shit?
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to dive into dog shit.
Wait,
I'm saying like, it's in the middle.
Am I going to be rolling in any type of shit?
Probably.
God.
No, but this race we both like we were like all
life dog shit.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my god, I thought you caught on about that.
Like, what is gonna be out there?
No, I thought you caught on about
like a dog farm or something.
The Favo race we went in and we were like, I finally was like, fuck it, we're just gonna have fun, and that's what we're gonna do with West Virginia too. There's a fucking swim in West Virginia. Your girls don't swim.
No.
So we're gonna fucking see what's up with that and just have a good time doing it. And I think it's actually going to be a blast. It's a different type of venue for us.
I do think we just actually a couple weeks ago did the trifecta weekend in Utah, which gave us both a run for our money because we are from Florida, and that was in the mountains.
Yeah, but listen, the only thing I will say about West Virginia, me and Wesley were making this joke the other day. Wesley is a good friend of ours. Hi, Wesley. He listens all the time.
What up, boy?
He's also a flocker from afar. But I was just like, I think the only advantage that I fucking have to this race, was it Wesley? Maybe it wasn't Wesley. It might have been Marshall.
Jared. Marshall.
No.
Who's Marshall?
Yeah, you know, Marshall, he comes to our Decas. Anyway,
Hey,
I got friends. So yes, you do. So anyway, we were talking and I said the only advantage that I have to this swim because I'm a landlocked mermaid is because it's been so fucking hot here. We've been in a heat advisory for like 3 weeks. I feel like I've been in a pool my entire fucking life. I feel like I've been in a pool soaking wet for over a month.
Humanity is constantly swimming in a pool.
Yeah, it is.
So,
that is the
thing.
feeling. So maybe this swim won't be so bad.
Call me Michael Phelps.
Yeah, call us Michael Phelps.
I had something to say.
But West Virginia, I think, is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. I will say one thing that Utah, I'm like really grateful that we went to Utah for is that like I showed up a little bit, not distracted, but I feel like I'm still figuring out how to get into that like competitive flow because I also have not had like a competitive spirit at all growing up. And like this past year, I've been like really working on building it because it is important for like.
You are competitive now.
No, I am. But I was not I was not locked in mentally on Saturday, which sounds like pretty corny, but like that I was so out of it that I didn't like give that race what I had. I really think physically I could have done more, but I was so in my head because I'd like rolled my ankle the day before and I thought my foot was gonna fall off if I ran, and like I just was so like I get really, really anxious and like not anxious. I feel like that's a bad word for it. I get really I don't even know the word for it, dude. I get just fucked up.
You just get anxiety before
I get
races.
anxiety and I just think that I'm not capable. I start negative
start
self-talk.
downing yourself.
It's negative doubting myself. It's negative self-talk, honestly. It's like, oh my God, you know, these people, they can run. They're from the mountains. Well, I don't know where these people are from. Where are they from? Probably from Florida too. Like, I don't know. And so anyway, that race just went really poorly for me. And then I realized it wasn't because I was like too in my head. It's because I wasn't in my head enough. Like I hadn't found that spot that I had to like lock into to like get that shit done. So Sunday, thank God, on the super, I like was able to bounce back and I
fucking killed that
I
shit.
ring pretty like I think that was a good race.
She killed it.
That was a good race for me given the conditions. Like I got 4th out of 10th, I think, which is pretty good-ish, but also
and they were all mountain goats.
Like every person before me, like I could tell that they were from the mountains. But all that being said, I'm excited to see how West Virginia goes because like I feel like for me, I feel like our training block has gone a little bit off the wagon because we've just been struggling busing. But so we still have our physical capabilities and they're fine, but you know,
struggle busing, we say like I created a training program for us and this is what happens.
We've done like
we
50%
created
of it.
Okay, but like we had created a training program and like I know it's gonna work because this is what I do and I know it's gonna fucking work. So I created a training program for us. Well, me, Alana, Mac, and Rich. We're the ones that are like following this program and we've just been on a program together for a while. Wolfpack for life. And so this is what we've been doing and I know it's gonna work, but sometimes I just want to go out there and I just want to fucking run and I don't think about it. So we get out there and they're like, and I wrote it. I wrote it. I'm reading this and I'm like, why the fuck did you tell us that we have to do hills? I just want to run.
Well,
I just want to love life. And so we go out there and we're like, can we just run? And I'm like, yep.
Yeah. I think we've all just kind of been like individually. Life has been and it's just like it's kind of been hard to stick to the plan, but we've been doing what we can with what we got. Yeah. And so like we're gonna show up in the best physical place that we can because it's like we're given what we got, but it's not really what the plan was. Anyway,
I think we're gonna be fine.
Yeah, no, we're gonna be good. But I'm excited to test that and like kind of see how I can get my race
channel it in.
Because
I think it's going to be interesting because like all of us are going into that with that same perspective. Like we all are just going into this being like, our training's been a little wonky, but we're going to give it the best shot that we have and we're going to have fun doing it. And sometimes, dude, that gives you the best outcome. Sometimes when you're not thinking about it, sometimes when you're not thinking about it so much and you just go into it with the perspective of being like, I'm just going to give it everything that I fucking have. And that's all you can ask for is like just giving it your best shot no matter what.
But I think my mistake in Utah I thought that I was like, oh, I'm just going to do what I can was like, I almost like settled to that instead of like actually did that. Like I think that statement can be taken two ways. It can be like, oh, I'm just gonna do what I can, or I'm like, I'm gonna do what the fuck I can. And I kind of aired on the side of, oh, I'll just be.
It's like you're gonna do what you're comfortable with, or you can do what you can do.
Like so,
what
and
you
that's
can
why
is a
I
lot
actually
more.
on in the Fayetteville race I wrote like, don't let your mind stop what your body can do.
Oh yeah, I forgot what
and I gotta do something like that again, because to me, like, I know I'm there's lots of proof that I'm physically capable of hauling ass, but for some reason when I'm out there and I'm like, oh, it's so hard, I'm just like, oh, you're so
Alana almost got taken
lazy.
out.
Dude, no, I almost quit.
Yeah, I know, she almost quit.
I almost looked at the volunteers and get my ass a helicopter.
She was at the top of the mountain about to come back down, and she literally was like waiting for somebody to look at her, so that way if they made eye contact with her, she'd be out.
I made it to a water station, and there was this volunteer there, and I mentally was struggling so hard that I was like, if she makes eye contact with me right now, I'm literally gonna ask her to pull me out of this race. I didn't quit the freaking ultra. That had not once did I have that thought during the 33-mile race we did. This is literally 14 miles in Utah. And so,
okay, whoa. It was fucking hard as shit, though.
It was tough. No, that's what I'm saying. That's emphasis on how hard it was.
Right. It wasn't just 13 miles.
It was horrible. And so I literally am staring at this lady like with my side eye. She didn't look at me once. And so I got my cup of water, I threw it in the trash, and I said, fuck. And I just kept walking. I walked for like the rest of the race. Death march.
Alana with rage.
Like we had a whole group chat following our like Utah race, and they're like, yo, I think Alana's death marching. And I like 5 hours later, because I was obviously death marching, I like went back and saw their messages, and I was like, can confirm Alana was death marching.
I think I wrote in that thing I wrote, your coach is not a mountain goat.
No, legit.
Like, coach is not a mountain goat.
Just
take
so
me out.
Everyone knows. But that being said, like, there's some mental work that can be done.
Yes.
And so I'm excited to kind of put that to the test in West Virginia, because it is going to be a challenging race.
I know.
But it is going to be one of those things where it's like, we do it, and not as like, we fucking did.
Mm-hmm. And that's our goal for this year. So that's like our full come around of what we are doing and that we're finishing for this year. And we do have a couple of races towards the end of the year, but they're not necessarily in like our goal list of things that we had set for this year. And we honestly both thought that next year, we were like, when we were creating the 2024 schedule like a couple weeks ago,
it was strictly Spartan.
Yeah, it was strictly let's chase the age group series and just focus on that, because we said that this year too, and we just did so many other things in between that we couldn't go to Big Bear, and we couldn't go, you know, whatever, which was fine. Yeah. But we still are chasing it the best that we can. And then as soon as we did that Fayetteville race, and we were both like, this is just makes us have such a different type of appreciation for what running does for us outside of the race and inside of the race, that we're just like, we just want to take it to a different level.
I just have this like conviction that I gotta do some more. I gotta go longer.
My goal for the Fayetteville race next year is I want to beat Rich's time.
And Rich is 20. How old is Rich? 22, 23. Rich is like a
23.
He's athletic AF, dude. He popped in this thing literally 6 months ago or something. His last race was like 6 months ago. Like, he wasn't a runner beforehand, to my knowledge.
Baseball,
and then he just like got second in the ultra. Yeah, 6 months of training.
And I think he came in 7:40 something, and I came in 8:15,
and then I came in like 9:05 or something like that. My goal is to beat Tracy's time next year. Tracy's goal is to beat Rich's time.
I'm going to beat Rich's time next year. I think I can do it.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
You can.
I think I can do it for sure. There was definitely, especially if that race is like the same pattern, I can kind of like envision it. And there was a couple places where I like walked it out because I anticipated it being a little bit worse, and it wasn't as bad when I got there. And I was like, fuck.
That course was
I could have ran.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I think that if I time it out a little bit better, I could do it.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for next year.
It'll be swaggy.
All right, let's go to bed. We got to be up at 3:30 in the morning.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Love you guys. Thanks for coming on, Lana.
Peace and blessings.
Love you, Paguana.
I love you.
Bye.
Bye. I miss you, Abigail. I love you.
Love you, Abigail.
Hope you got so much work done tonight and that you feel so happy.
Okay, bye.
Bye.